Hello everyone and welcome to MOA Monthly Videocast. I'm Heather.
And I am Marcellus.
Happy New Year everyone. I hope you've started the year off well. Today's season talk, we are going to discuss how we celebrate New Year in America. And how about our culture talk?
Well, for our culture talk, we're going to talk about the American tipping system.
All right, is everyone ready?
Let's begin.
All right, so talking about our season talk of New Year's, it's celebrated a little bit differently in America than in Japan. For example, do you know the phrase New Year's resolution? Maybe not? Well, my New Year's resolution this year is to study Japanese.
Ooh.
Okay, how about, what's your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution this year is to stop smoking.
Oh, all right. So could you guess what New Year's resolution might mean? Well, it means something you want to change in your life to make your life better. For example, many people want to lose weight or start a hobby, something they want to do in the next year. And it's a really big challenge to keep your New Year's resolution. Many people quit after 1 month, or in March, maybe they forgot about their New Year's resolution, but maybe you can make one and to keep it up the whole year. All right, and also our celebration of New Year's is a little bit different. How did you celebrate New Year's in America?
Well, in America, the celebration actually happens on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is the day before New Year's. And on New Year's Eve, we usually celebrate the end of one year and the beginning of another one. So for New Year's Eve, we have parties. We spend time with our friends, we listen to music, there's fireworks, and there's also a massive countdown to the new year. And one thing that's very important is at 12 o'clock, some people, many people, kiss the person that's closest to them on New Year's Day.
Yeah. Did you have a special New Year's kiss this year?
I think I'll keep that one a secret.
All right. Yeah, well, that's an important part of an American New Year's Eve party. We have the countdown, and at midnight, we kiss someone and have a champagne toast.
That's right.
Yeah, and we don't really have special New Year's food like in Japan, but we have a lot of snacks at the party, maybe chips and dip or something.
Right.
Yeah,
punch is very important at the party as well.
Yeah, lots of alcohol. So on New Year's Day, maybe many Americans spend it relaxing and recovering from a hangover, maybe.
That's right. The most important thing, I think, is that to keep in mind that the change is something to celebrate. And that's why we have the party. To sort of bring in a happy time and to say, yay, 1 year is finished. We're all safe. We're all great. Now let's challenge the next year.
Yeah, and let's start the new year well and make a New Year's resolution and have a great year.
That's
right.
All right, we're back, and it's time to have our culture talk. Today's topic is the tipping system. Now, the tipping system is very difficult because a lot of us Americans, like you and I, Heather, aren't quite sure about how much to tip. For example, Heather, when you go to a restaurant, how much do you usually tip?
I guess I usually tip about 15%.
15%.
But I have to use my cell phone to figure out how much money that is.
Oh, no. Or sometimes when going to a hotel, for example, and the guy carries my bag, and he takes the bag to the room, and when it's all over, I'm standing at the door waiting for this guy to leave, and he's holding his hand out, and I have no idea how much money to put in this guy's hand. It's a real problem sometimes, I think.
I think so, too.
Well, you know what, Heather? In order to give our listeners and viewers out there the proper information, I Googled the information.
Oh, good.
And this is what I found out. Are you ready?
Yes.
Well, Google tells me that if you are at a bar, for example, how much do you think you have to tip the bartender?
I don't know.
Well, if you're at a bar, Google says that you should tip the bartender $1 per drink. Or if you really want special service from the bar, you can go ahead and tip a little bit more, $1.25, $1.50, it's okay. The amount of the tip is actually up to you, but the basic standard, according to Google, is $1. Now, Heather, what about tipping at a restaurant? Now, you said 15%.
Yes.
Do you think that's the average?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're right, actually. According to Google, the average tip at restaurants is 10 to 20%. So 15% would be about right, you know. Now, the tip at restaurants really depends on how you personally feel about the service. If you think the service was average, then go ahead and leave 10%. But if you feel the service was excellent, then it's better to leave 20%, or you can even go over and leave 25%. Remember, the amount you tip is up to you. These are just the basic figures. Now, what about this one, Heather? This is a really tricky one.
Okay.
Taxis.
Oh, taxis.
How much do you think we should tip the taxi driver?
10%?
Ooh, now that one's a tough one. And actually, according to Google, there is no real percentage per se. Google says that the minimum you should tip a taxi driver is $2, but the standard practice is rounding up. For example, if the bill is $7, you give the taxi driver a $10 bill, and the tip is rounded up, meaning the extra $3 change is the tip. And so you say to the taxi driver, keep the change. So again, what we do for tips and taxis is we round the bill up and then pay that amount, and the balance becomes a tip. So if the bill is $7, we round up the total, give them a $10 bill, and say, keep the change. That's right. And that's it for our tipping section. One bit of advice, though, I found in Google, some tipping etiquette, which I'm sure you probably didn't know about. Maybe you did. I don't know. Never tip a person if they don't deserve it. If the service is terrible, if the attitude is terrible, do not give them a tip. Also, I'm looking at my computer as I'm telling you this because we're getting these tips from Google. Another thing is if the tip is exceptional, if the service is exceptional, then you should pay more than the average. Paying more than the average ensures that that person will remember you, so the next time you go back, you can be guaranteed to have excellent service. And then final tip is when you pay a tip, be discreet. Don't just hand over a big wad of money and say, hey, everybody, I'm giving a tip. Use some discretion, slightly give the person the money, and pay the tip. I think that's it.
Sounds good. All right, so that's all for January's Videocast. Did you understand everything? Well, maybe not everything, but I hope you were able to enjoy. And maybe you learned something. Did you learn about New Year's resolution? Have you made one yet? Well, if you need help to make a New Year's resolution, I have a suggestion. Let's work on your English and let's make a New Year's resolution to study harder this year and watch every month's Videocast. So that's all until next month. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.